The preceding program was brought to you in part by Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Amber Karen, who's the Director of Communications with Wreaths across America. Amber, welcome. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me, Pete.
Thanks for coming down. So, Amber, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been involved with Wreaths across America.
Yeah, so I live in Maine. I am a Mainer, as they say. I'm from here, but with a little stint in Connecticut. I want to put that out there. I did go to college in Connecticut, my background is public relations and communications, and I got involved with Wreaths Across America 18 years ago, which seems crazy to say out loud now, but I got involved. The advertising agency that I worked for, was brought on to support this new nonprofit, which had been founded in 2007, in that following summer. So it was 2008, to help out, get the word out about what their mission was, and help them grow, and get kind of a little bit more organization around the brand and what we were trying to do across the country with the mission. So my agency came on board to help, and I did that, supporting the program for 9 years. And then I came in-house as the Director of Communications 8 years ago with Wreaths Across America, and I have not looked back since. So I've been involved in some capacity for a very long time and been a big part of the growth of this program. Met some amazing people along the way, and it's amazing to me to put in perspective for you, that first year, 2008, we had, it was, I think, maybe 200 participating locations, and the year before, they had placed about, I think, 24,000 wreaths at Arlington. Oh, wow. Fast forward to this past year, 2024, and we had 4,909 participating locations and full coverage at Arlington National Cemetery, among many other large cemeteries. So it's grown a lot. It's seen, I think, we'll talk more about this tonight as we have more time, but, it's seen a lot of changes over the years because of the mission and the importance it has to people. So for me personally, my role has certainly changed, and now I have a team of folks who are very committed to supporting our volunteers across the country. And it's funny to think it's been 18 seasons, so this will be my 18th season that we're going into. So time flies while you're having fun.
Oh, absolutely. Now, what is the mission of the organization?
So a lot of people we hear us say, remember, honor, teach, and it's that simple, but the full mission is remember the fallen, honor those who served, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. It's a year-round mission. Most people know us for our National Wreaths Across America Day event, and this year that event is taking place on Saturday, December 13th. But Wreaths Across America Day is just that, it's a day. The mission truly is year-round, and we've developed a lot of amazing programs in communities available to anyone who's interested all throughout the country, and really made an impact through our programming to truly make it a year-round program. So I think people know us for Wreaths Across America Day, again, but that's an event, and the mission is year-round. And everything we do comes back to those three pillars: remember, honor, teach.
Okay. And as far as let's talk about the history of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think many folks in your area in Connecticut probably have met our founders, or hopefully met our founders over the years as we've come through that area. Morrill Worcester, who is the founder of our organization, he's an entrepreneur. He owns several businesses here in a region of Maine called Down East Maine. It's kind of where you look at Maine, it's a little crook of the state, right, of the water. And he's an entrepreneur from a very young age. And at 12 years old, he actually won a paperboy contest.
Okay.
He was a paperboy at 12 for the Bangor Daily News. He was sent to Washington, D.C. as his prize. And this speaks to the teach piece of our mission here. So as part of that trip, Morrill was able to visit Arlington, something, from some kid from Down East Maine might not ever get to see.
Right.
And it stuck with him. And he didn't know it then, how much it had stuck with him. But later on in life, when he had his businesses, and he had a wreath business, and one year he used to, buy and sell wreaths, and he had about 5,000 extra wreaths. He remembered his trip. And he thought about all those headstones that had nobody to come visit them. And, Arlington's an older cemetery. There's a lot of older parts of the cemetery. And so he got in touch with our then Senator Olympia Snowe and asked to get permission to bring those 5,000 wreaths down. And he got it. And he got a local trucking company to help haul them, and some local volunteers. And that was 1992. And they brought those wreaths down, and it took them all day to place those 5,000 wreaths.
Wow.
And called his wife, and he said, we're never going to not do this. This matters. And so for many years, almost 15 years, the family, it was a private gift that they would set aside 5,000 wreaths, and they'd bring it to a different section of the cemetery every year. And it was their family's gift. It was their way of saying thank you.
Right.
And in 2005, a USO photographer happened to be at the cemetery, and it had just snowed, and the wreaths had all been placed. And he took a picture, which now has become kind of an iconic picture of the snow lightly covering the wreaths in Arlington. And he posted it with a poem and about, what he saw. And this is back in the day when things went viral. It was kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah.
2005, excuse me. And so people from all over the country started reaching out and saying, well, how do I do this in my community? How do I support this? I love this. And it was kind of overwhelming, and it became evident very quickly that this was, sparked something for people. So the Wreaths Across, and obviously it was too much for their family and for their organization, for their company to handle. So they formed a 501c3, and his wife, Karen Worcester, took the helm as our executive director, who she remains the executive director today. She's a volunteer. She's just continued to grow the mission. And obviously, Morrill's piece, he's still very much involved in the overall, so he supports from his business standpoint. They are big supporters of the program, one of our biggest donors, but he is separate from Wreaths Across America, the nonprofit, but still continues to play an important part on the mission and the ideas of what founded the organization, right? Was this idea to someday, hopefully, remember every U.S. service member laid to rest, and take a moment during the busiest time of year to pause and say thank you for their service and their sacrifice. So it's something, our history is something we're very proud of. We're very much a family grassroots organization. Anyone who's, I feel like, met the Worcester family feels immediately like you're part of the family, and the Wreaths Across America family as a whole. So it's a very unique organization, and people really, we hope, feel special being part of it.
Absolutely. And I have to let you know, a couple years ago, the program and the convoy came to Old Saybrook. I actually was there for the program. I was so moved I actually had nothing to say. And people who know me were like, oh my God, it took this program for Pete Mezzetti to say nothing. Holy cow. I'm like, thanks. And Gil Simmons, who is one of the local weather personalities here in Connecticut, was the master of ceremonies. And he did a phenomenal job. I remember standing in the back of the room of the auditorium at the high school watching this program. But before that, we watched the convoy come in to the high school. And then we all, right after the program was over, I remember standing on Route 1 on the sidewalk watching them all leave.
It's something to see.
Oh yeah. It is absolutely something to see.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I'm glad you shared that, Pete. Thank you. I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's almost difficult sometimes to explain the value of the program until they have the opportunity to participate. And I really, whenever I talk to anybody who's new to the mission, I'll say, you know, where are you? Because I guarantee you there's probably a participating location somewhere nearby.
Right.
And if nothing else, just go and participate. Go place a wreath. Personal story for mine. So for me, how I got so invested in this mission, my first year with Wreaths Across America as a PR consultant was, you know, that 2008 season. And in hindsight, it's kind of comical. I went to Arlington National Cemetery with, you know, my high heels on, and we were going to talk to media. It was going to be, you know, this very important thing.
Yeah.
Last time I ever wore high heels there, but, you know, walked about 40 miles that day. And
Yeah, right.
Karen came up to me, Karen Worcester, and I'll never forget it. She came up to me and she had a wreath in her hand. And she said, I know you're very busy and your job is very important, but I need you to do something for me. She's like, take this wreath and go remember why we're here. And that stayed with me. It did. It stayed with me because I hadn't actually placed a wreath up until that point.
Right.
And I had been talking with people and I'm seeing people, and sorry for getting emotional, but it's one of those things that just sticks with me. And I go
absolutely.
back, I visit that gentleman every year. And he already has his wreath usually by the time I get there, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it really is about that experience for people. I think taking that time to read the name out loud and maybe go home and look that person up, look up, you know, learn about their life. And, you know, it's a very powerful thing. It's a tangible thing. It's an action that you can take.
Right.
It's something you can take a child by the hand and do it with a child and maybe have them read their name and learn about that person. I think it's a really unique thing. So I really encourage people, if they're able to take time out of your busy season to place a wreath if you can.
Right. And now let's talk about the convoy from Maine to Arlington. Obviously it starts when?
So this year, we will be taking off from Maine. So National Wreaths Across America Day is December 13th. So that would make, so the 6th. We'll be leaving Maine. Well, the festivities start in Maine on Saturday, December 6th, but the actual escort to Arlington will start to depart and head down south on Sunday, December 7th. And for those of you who are not familiar with the escort to Arlington, this kind of evolved over the years as well. It's this idea of sharing the mission all down the East Coast as we bring the final loads of wreaths to Arlington National Cemetery. So they'll be traveling in this escort. We'll probably have about 11 or 12 tractor trailers that are, you know, loaded with wreaths for placement at Arlington. Those are not the only wreaths going there. There's lots more, but we will have veterans, we'll have Gold Star family members, we will have Blue Star family members, we will have patriotic Americans and supporters, lots of law enforcement, Patriot Guard riders. These folks will travel as a unit down the East Coast over the course of a week, and our goal is to stop in as many communities as possible and to share the mission to remember, honor, and teach, and to honor local veterans and Gold Star families along the way. It's a very moving literally and figuratively week. The actual event has turned into what we consider the world's largest veterans parade. It's over a mile long
Okay.
when you get, and there's about 150 people participating, including law enforcement. So we'll leave on Sunday. We'll do several stops in Maine before heading to Massachusetts on Monday, the 8th. We have a few stops in Massachusetts. And then on Tuesday, December 9th, we start our day in Worcester, Mass. And we'll be making our way over to Wallingford and for a midday. And this information will be on our website by the end of this month. We're just finalizing all the details. We'll be in Wallingford and then ending the evening in Norwalk for a private dinner. But the public information will be available on our website, and we'll keep you updated, Pete, so you have it and you can share it with your viewers and listeners as we get closer. And then we'll be heading down through New Jersey, onto Pennsylvania and Delaware, and then ending on Friday in DC with the National War Monuments. We place wreaths at World War II, Vietnam Wall, Korean War Monument, and the Pentagon, the 9/11 Pentagon Memorial. And then we go into Arlington on Saturday morning for placement of just over, looking at 265,000 wreaths this year at Arlington National Cemetery. So it's a full week-long event, about 3 to 4 stops a day on the escort. So we'll be doing live coverage on our radio station. We'll be posting on social media. It'll be a great opportunity for people to listen live on Wreaths Radio as well as follow along on our social media channels. And it's just a great way to honor. It's a lot of kids. We stop at a lot of schools, which is really important. It's a great way we have a lot of Vietnam veterans that travel with us, so it's a great healing trip for a lot of people, Gold Star family members. And as you noted, it's something to see if you can come out and be part of it.
It is. Now, I was wondering if you can tell us, what is a Blue Star family and what's a Gold Star family?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question.
Yes.
A Gold Star family member is someone who has lost their loved one while in active duty to our country. So, mother, Gold Star moms and dads, their son or daughter was either killed in action or was active duty when they lost their life.
Gotcha.
Blue Star families are people whose loved ones are actively serving.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
But that's, and those are folks that, for us, we feel very strongly, Gold Star and Blue Star families are the people that especially the Gold Star families, we want to make sure that they understand that their loved one's service and sacrifice is remembered. And we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to share their stories along the way. And that's a big part of the escort, is hearing from those families and what it means for their loved one to be remembered.
Now, the families actually get up and speak at the events?
In some cases, yeah. It depends on the location. We'll have a few different folks with us. Actually, this year will be our theme for this year is Keep Moving Forward. And we change our theme every year just to kind of get folks motivated. But Keep Moving Forward were the last words of Captain Joshua Byers.
Okay.
He was killed in Afghanistan, and he was leading his unit, and he had been fatally shot. And his last words to his sergeant, I think, I apologize if I don't get that right, but the person that he was in the car in his Jeep with basically was keep moving forward. And they went, and there was more attacks, and basically they say that without Josh's words, they probably would have been many more casualties. His parents, Mary and Lloyd Byers, will be traveling with us, and they've actually written a book about Joshua that's available in our store, and his last words, and how it's become kind of an ethos for their life and the life of many. And that's kind of been as our theme this year. Always, it's important, no matter what the obstacles, just keep moving forward. So we're really happy that the Byers family will be able to be joining us this year to share more about Josh's story.
Now, when the convoy pulls out in December from Maine, going down to Arlington and all the different points between, are you actually traveling with them?
Oh, no.
No?
Done it. No, I've done it before, but no, my life gets a little hectic that week. So, I mean, the last time I was on the escort, I think it was 20, oh gosh, I can't remember what year it was. It was a few years ago. I was on the phone the whole time, so I feel like I missed out on the actual, because I'm a little bit, a few
Oh,
other
no.
things going on. So it's not good for me to be on the escort, but I've been to many of the stops. I always try to go to as many of them in Maine, and I try to, and I meet them all in Arlington. I'll be down in DC, managing quite a few of the things that are happening down there. So, but yeah, I know a lot of folks who do it every year. It's there. They look forward to it every year. A lot of families who really just, it's something that the second it's done, they're like, can't wait till next year.
Yeah, right.
And so
Yeah, I'm sure the second it's done, you guys already start planning for next year.
pretty much, yeah. It's true. We do.
Exactly. Now, can you tell us a little bit about Wreaths Across America Day and how, if you want to get involved, how you can do so?
Absolutely. So National Wreaths Across America Day again is Saturday, December 13th this year. It's usually the second or third Saturday in December. So if you go to wreathsacrossamerica.org, there's a tab that says get involved, and I'm going to kind of elaborate that a little bit. So there's lots of things you can do. Right now we have over 5,300 registered participating locations. And when I say location, that means it's a cemetery or a memorial where a Wreaths Across America ceremony will be held on National Wreaths Across America Day.
Okay.
Many of those locations will be placing wreaths through sponsored wreaths. So you can look up your zip code. You can go, state of Connecticut has over 70 participating locations in the state. So you can probably find one within a short distance from where you are, probably about a half-hour drive to a location near you where you can come out and help place wreaths. So that's the very first thing. If nothing else, you just want to dip your toe in it and learn a little bit more about it, go out to participate on National Wreaths Across America Day, and that's an easy thing. Every location that participates for Wreaths Across America has a page on our website. So if you go to wreathsacrossamerica.org and you look up in the search section, you put, your town, Old Saybrook, Connecticut, it'll pull up the nearest locations, and you can go to their page, and you can learn about, how many wreath sponsorships do they need to hit their goal? What, who's the location coordinator managing it? What time, is the event start at? Is there parking restrictions? So every page is different, and it goes for every location. So we encourage you to check there first. Sponsorships is a big one. Obviously, raising wreath sponsorships. Nobody likes to show up on Wreath Day and there not be enough wreaths for every headstone, but it happens all the time, and it still happens. And that's really just part of the education and the growth of the program. The more people that get invested and involved in the community, the more wreaths that will be sponsored and placed each year. So there's lots of ways to get involved in that. We have a great program called our sponsorship group program.
Okay.
And that is something that anyone can sign up for. And this is if you're a school or a youth group, church group, any kind of nonprofit can earn dollars through that for their own program. So if they want to sign up as a $5 back group, they can pick the locations that they want to support, and you get your own page. It's all free on our website. We give you all kinds of tools and resources basically to promote your page and your link. And for every $17 wreath that's sponsored through your page, you'll earn $5 back for your own program. And this is something that we do all year round. In 2024, we gave back just over $4 million to these groups. And in total, since 2007, we've given back over $28 million. So it is a very robust program. There are hundreds of sponsorship groups in Connecticut, whether it's, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, CAP kids, squadrons, VFWs, American Legions. You can find a group that you care about that's raising funds to sponsor wreaths and earning dollars for their own program. If you have your own nonprofit or you have a youth group or a civic group and you would like to sign up, you can do that on the Get Involved link. It says lead a sponsorship group, and you can quickly register. There's no limit. You can sign up as early in the year or as late in the year as you'd like, and you're basically as successful as you want to be in that effort to raise funds. And that's a great way. Like I said, we have almost 8,000 groups across the country, so representing so many different types of organizations, all doing really good work, and it's our way. So when people say, you know, how do you give back to living veterans? This is how we give back. We're giving back to these programs that are doing good work in their communities right now. And you'll get checks from us as long as there are wreaths being sponsored every month. You would get a payback check. We also have groups that are what we call $5 forward. Those are for groups that want to see as many wreaths as possible placed, and they don't want the $5 back. The extra $5 will go forward towards another wreath to be placed, and those will add up and get more wreath placements. So the group sponsorship program is a great way to get involved, especially if you have a youth group and, again, sports teams, anything with kids. It's a great way for kids to learn about the veterans in their community. And unlike, I don't know about you, but I mean, my kids sold popcorn, and it was pretty expensive popcorn for baseball. And
Yes.
they make very little. I bought most of it, and they didn't really make a whole lot of money off of it. But in this case, you could, sports groups can sell wreath sponsorships, learn about the veterans in their community, and earn $5 back for each wreath that's being placed for a veteran. And then get those kids and get that group out there on National Wreaths Across America Day and help them place those wreaths. So it's a kind of a great way to get the community involved. And then also, in addition to that, I think people don't understand, Wreaths Across America still is a pretty relatively small organization from a staffing standpoint. All of these locations and groups across the country are all run by volunteers.
Yes.
So if you say you participate at Wreaths Across America Day and you say, you know what, I want to take this program to my community. Awesome. You can do that. You can you can become a location coordinator. All we require, if there has to be a veteran buried in the location that you like to add as a cemetery, or there has to be a memorial to veterans in your community. And you just need to get permission from whatever the municipality is that is in charge of that location, because we're guests and we just want to make sure that we're, following the rules of the location. And you can sign up a location and become a location coordinator. We grow because of those volunteers. This whole program is volunteer based, and if it wasn't for the volunteers, we wouldn't exist. So some of the larger locations around the country have committees that are always looking for more people to help out, get the word out, and help with organizing ceremonies and raising wreath funds. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. If you're interested in learning more, you can certainly go to the website. And even if you just submit, we have the country broken out into 5 regions, and Connecticut falls into Region 1. Okay. And you can talk to our Region 1 liaisons, and they can kind of talk you through all the different ways you could potentially help out in your community if you're interested.
Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Oh, I think so.
All right, we'll be right back.
Awesome.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Whether it's the truck attack on Bourbon Street or the wildfires in California, as concerned and generous people consider helping the victims and their families, Better Business Bureau's Wise Giving Alliance encourages you to consider whether crowdfunding posts have gotten permission from the families before using any names or photos of the victims. Don't assume there is an official connection just because photos are displayed. Verify how funds will be used. Be cautious about vague appeals that don't specify the intended use of funds. For example, is money being raised for medical expenses, funeral expenses, or other family needs? Keep in mind that contributions that help a specific individual or family are not deductible as charitable contributions on your taxes. And note that while some crowdfunding sites do take precautions in carefully screening, vetting, and managing posts after a tragedy, others might not. Tragedies can generate donation requests from a variety of organizations. We urge donors to check out charities by visiting give.org to verify if the charity meets the 20 BBB standards for charity accountability.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, joined by Amber Karen with Wreaths Across America. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, and thanks for sticking around. So we talked about the organization and all the wonderful things you guys do. So what I would like to do is open up this segment about ways to support and volunteer in the community. I know we talked a little bit about it in the last segment, but let's get into a little bit more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I spoke a little bit briefly in the beginning, Pete. So Wreaths Across America's year-round programs have really grown. And some of those programs include our Teach program,
Okay.
as well as our veteran resources and many others. So when we talk about the Teach program, for instance, that has really been something that we feel pretty strongly about in the last few years. We've developed a free curriculum. It's service-based curriculum for youth from kindergarten to 12th grade. And it's very action-oriented curriculum. It's all been designed by a Gold Star mother who was the mother of a Marine, and she is a retired educator. And really, that's one way for people to get involved. There's some really great content in there. It's non-political. It's really about helping to educate kids about ways they can serve in their community and at home and in school, and ways that they can engage with and learn about our nation's history of service. So that's an awesome way we've been doing a lot with educators across the country and getting our curriculum in front of more of educators and helping them it's a free resource for them to teach kids. So that's been a big piece too, where we have a lot of educators who've kind of gotten involved in the last few years to help spread that word and get that message out about that education program. So that's a big piece of what we do. We also have, as part of that an extension. I'm sure it's, some of your viewers might have seen our mobile education exhibit. It's kind of an extension of our Teach program.
Yes.
The Museum on Wheels. Currently out of on the sideline for the rest of the year as it's getting some maintenance, but it's a great opportunity to come out and have events where we can educate the public as well as provide an opportunity to honor veterans in the community. We, as a nonprofit, we are a national partner of the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration.
Okay.
As an official partner, we offer we're official welcome home partners, and our unit, our MEE, is a welcome home location. We have welcomed home over 6,000 Vietnam veterans over the last 6 years. And as an extension of the program, any of our volunteers, so any of our location coordinators or group leaders, can also contact us and get the pins and get the proclamation from the current sitting president, as well as, a thank you gift that Wreaths Across America also provides to those veterans, which is a challenge coin. It's a really moving thing to see a Vietnam veteran actually be welcomed home, because it's something that most of them did not receive, my father included. Just not something that was done. It's a different time. And because of their sacrifice, we have the parades and the respect that we have for our nation's military now. So it's a big part of what we do with that unit. And it's also about educating kids. Again, it's, learning about the different time of our history, right? But there's a lot to learn from those stories. And obviously, as many people know, our Vietnam veterans are aging. I mean, my
Yes.
father's nearly 80, although he would deny that, and most are. So it's one of those things where it's important to capture those stories and share those stories now. So that's an extension of that. In addition to, we have we have a lot of veterans resources and military and veteran resources on our website, and we partner with a lot of national VSOs. We have some really great partnerships with American Legion Auxiliary. We're in communication with American Legion at the national level now, Military Order of the World War, Vietnam Veterans of America. These are all organizations who are doing good work to help our nation's veterans now. And through our partnership with these organizations, we're helping to give them a platform, through our Wreaths Across America radio station, as well as our social media following and our email. We have a lot of followers and people very interested in what we're saying. So by being able to share their message about, who should want to join these different groups and what's the value in their communities, we're giving them that platform to share those messages. So, those are just an example of some of the programs that we have. So when we talk about that year-round mission, it really is making an impact in communities all year round, whether it's through youth and the education program, through the VSO partnerships and the veteran outreach. There's lots of and lots of folks in between, right? So I think when you think about volunteerism, people think it could be limiting to what you can do. There's a lot you can do, and I think if anyone was interested in bringing any aspect of those different programs to their community, please reach out. Contact us at wreathsacrossamerica.org. There's our chat, and we can certainly help direct you to location coordinator or group leaders that are in the region that might need some support, or maybe let you kind of take on your own post. So it's important to give people options, right? So we try to really think through, because I don't think that anyone's too young to serve. And that's where that teaching program comes in, right? To really give kids that idea that anyone can do anything, as small as it might seem.
Absolutely. Now, what is the VSO?
Sorry, Veteran Service Organization is
Thank
a
you.
VSO. Sorry.
Not too bad.
No, it's one of those things you don't even realize you're using those acronyms. I come from the trucking background. My agency used to work in trucking. You mean an industry with acronyms. But yeah,
right.
Veteran Service Organizations. There's and these are these larger organizations that people are out there. People know their names, but they don't necessarily know why to join them or who's eligible. I just became a member of the American Legion Auxiliary. I had no idea until we became a national partner that I was even eligible to become a member of the American Legion Auxiliary. And it's an opportunity for me to help veterans in my community that I wasn't even aware of. So,
Right.
and I'm eligible through my grandfather's service and my father's service. And again, it's just, when we got talking to them and sharing some of their stories, I was like, oh, I think I might be eligible. So again, it's one of those things that people don't know what they don't know. So we want to educate people about ways to get involved with, these other programs, because it'd be disingenuous of us as an organization whose mission is to remember, honor, and teach if we weren't working with and supporting other organizations who are doing that all day, all year round, right, in their communities. So we want to help get the word out about the work they're doing, help them raise funds through our sponsorship group programs, and give back as much as we can, because we all have to work together.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the person stories of the impact and the mission that it has on so many lives.
Oh gosh, there is a lot of personal stories. Over 18 years for me, Pete, I've had a lot of very meaningful stories. But that being said, there's a few that stick out for me. I think, I come from a mindset that things don't happen by accident. That's just my personal experience. And over the years, I've seen that more and more through Wreaths Across America. I've met people from all over the country who are connected to this mission. And it's always interesting to me because in many cases I'll talk to somebody and they don't even have military in their family, and so you have to wonder and ask. And I've had stories of, I've had a Gold Star family who connected, who for years didn't really fully understand what took place when their son was brought, after when he was killed, what took place in the process of him getting to them. And through our program, they were able to actually meet the gentleman who cared for their son's body. And it was years and years later, almost a decade later, I happened to stand there next to these people when they realized who each other was. And it was one of those things where they just were they were brought together through Wreaths Across America. And again, it's just, I think the beauty of this program for me, I think how to summarize it best, is that the wreath is the catalyst, that it's a tangible thing that people need to place, right? It's the thing that brings us all together on one day. But it's what takes place in the process of doing that thing, right? So it's the waiting in line. It's talking to your neighbor while you're waiting in line for your wreath and learning, well, why are you here? Do you have a loved one here? Or why is this important to you? And having those conversations and like the connections that have been made, it's incredible. I mean, some of the stories I've heard of people and the connections that have been made through, just standing next to someone in line. We have a Facebook group that we created years and years ago, and at the time, people thought we were a little crazy for doing it, but it's a group, and it only is available it just opened on October 1st, and it runs through the end of February, and it's called the Photo Request Page for Wreaths Across America. And what it is strangers asking strangers to take pictures of their loved one's headstone with a wreath. And it's someone in San Antonio saying, my father's buried in Florida in Bushnell. Is someone there who can go visit him and get a picture for me so I can see his headstone with a wreath? And somebody from Florida being like, I can be there. Tell me where he is. And it's all these connections, and there's hundreds of them. And every year it blows my mind. I mean, we opened it on October 1st, and within 5 days, I mean, there was dozens and dozens of people connecting who are now going to become connected, right? Connected for life, because they're going to go take a picture for somebody that they don't know who can't be there to visit their loved one. And I think that's the piece for me with the personal stories. It's that connection piece. Wreaths Across America, for a lot of people, it helps connect the dots. And I think that it's a pretty special thing. So I've seen it so many times that I mean, even for me, I have people that I consider to be extension of my family. My father's a Vietnam veteran. It's not something we ever talked about when I was a kid. I never really knew anything about my father's service. Now he comes to events with me. It's not something, sometimes I have to twist his arm, but he still comes.
Yeah, right.
And he, it's not his favorite thing in the world, but he's coming every time. He comes more and more out of his shell with it. And it's just an opportunity for him to meet people who also served and might feel the same way as him, and I think he's likes to see that people are, taking time to learn about people's stories, because that's the important piece. It's not necessarily we don't ask a Gold Star family member how their loved one died. We ask them about their life and how they lived. And those are the stories that kids need to hear. Why did Daniel sign up to serve? What moved him to serve his country? What was he like as a kid? you play baseball, whatever. And I think those are the things that really matter. And over the last 18 years, I have learned more stories about more people, and they all hold a special place in my heart. And I think I'm incredibly lucky to be part of something that has grown to include so many people and so many communities across the country.
Now, like we discussed in the first half of the show, that Wreaths Across America, you guys are a year-round organization, not just on Wreaths Across America Day, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Correct. We are working year-round.
Yeah, right.
100% year-round.
Now, tell us about Wreaths Across America Day, which is on, I believe, the 13th of December, and what can people expect?
That's a great question. Wreaths Across America Day is going to be a little bit different depending on where you are.
Okay.
Obviously the country is quite large.
Yeah.
There are ceremonies taking place in every state, including Puerto Rico and Guam, the British Virgin Islands, American Samoa. We have wreaths going to a lot of locations, Hawaii, Alaska. And I would be remiss if I don't share out loud that all of these wreaths, and this year we'll have over 3 million that we're going to move, they are all being transported in kind by our trucking partners, members of what we call our honor fleet.
Okay.
And these are professional drivers and carriers who are donating their equipment, their driver's time, and their fuel to haul wreaths across the country for us, literally. They are the people moving the mission. We would not be able to do it if we didn't. We wouldn't be able to, pay for all that movement, and that includes, ocean barge and other container shipping. So, big shout out to our honor fleet members. And if you're interested in that, please go to wreathsacrossamerica.org. There's plenty of lanes available. So, if you're a trucking company interested in learning more about that. But Wreaths Across America Day, depending on the location, depending on the size of the location, you're going to have a different experience. Some of the larger locations are going like 50,000 plus wreaths being placed. You're going to have a lot more attendance, right? So you're going to want to plan ahead in terms of going to wreathsacrossamerica.org, looking up the location that you want to participate at, and make sure you're clear about parking and what time things are taking place, because everyone's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So that you get there with ample time for parking and to get to the ceremony or wreath placement or both. So that's where those pages and those location pages on our website are very important. I do encourage people to register to volunteer. It's not required, but it does allow our volunteers to communicate with their registered volunteers and give them updates. So it's just especially if you're going to Arlington, I highly recommend, if you are planning on visiting and participating at Arlington National Cemetery, please register. You can do that on the website at wreathsacrossamerica.org, because there will be a lot of information provided ahead of that event, because there's a lot of attendees. There's typically over 30,000 people come to place wreaths, and there's limited access points, and obviously parking is very limited.
Oh, yeah.
So things to just be thinking about. I would just say make a plan. Obviously dress appropriately, like for the weather. If you're in Florida, it's going to be a little different than it is in North Dakota.
Exactly.
I would say, pack your patience and come with an open mind, and be there and we say if there's not enough wreaths, it's okay. We just ask that you stop and say each person's name out loud, whether you're placing a wreath or not. It's an opportunity to pause and say their name. And even when a wreath is placed, we ask that you please say their name out loud, because a person dies twice: the last time they take a breath and the last time their name is spoken. So we ask that you take that time to do that, but definitely make a plan for your day. Some of the smaller locations and smaller communities, it'll be much more simple, obviously. There are some locations that are ceremonial only, and it's just a ceremony and there's no wreath placement, but that's all going to be on our website. So when you go and you put in your town, you can say, where you're located and where you'd like to participate, and it'll come up, and all the information for that day will be there. And just keep in mind that all of these events are being managed by volunteers. And They're just people in their community that are trying to give back. So just keep that in mind when you're dealing with our volunteers, because they're working really hard to make the day a success. So, but I highly encourage you to participate if you can. I've been at Arlington for the last 17 years. We've had days where there was 15,000 people and a day where there was 90,000 people. Depends on the weather usually. And no matter what, it's still a great day.
Yeah.
So, it's something that you can do with your kids. It's something you can do with anyone. And it's a great experience for sure.
Absolutely. Now, if what we didn't talk about in the first segment, and I want to talk about it now, if somebody wants to buy a wreath, can they?
You mean to take home?
Yes.
Yes. So if you go to our website, yes, you can purchase a remembrance wreath, or what we call, there's a remembrance wreath, which is just a wreath, but you're going
Yep.
to pay for the shipping to your house.
Yep.
We do not allow people to bring wreaths on Wreaths Across America Day. The wreaths that are placed are the ones that are sponsored, that have been delivered to the cemetery for placement. And but if you would like to buy a wreath for your house, you can certainly buy a remembrance wreath or something, for your loved one. We also have what we call a Patriot Pair, Pete. This is actually very popular and I highly recommend. This is what I buy for my
Okay.
family.
All right.
For holidays. Makes a great gift. A Patriot Pair is, you sponsor a wreath for a location, and then a second matching wreath is sent to someone's address as a gift. So my uncle has passed, and he was in the United States Navy, and he is buried in Jacksonville. So I sponsor a wreath, a Patriot Pair, for my aunt every year. It's a wreath is placed in remembrance of my uncle at Jacksonville National Cemetery. So a wreath is sponsored, and then a veterans wreath with a Navy flag is shipped to her house. So I pay for the sponsorship, the additional wreath, and the shipping on the wreath that goes to her house, and then the sponsored wreath, there's no shipping cost.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great gift. I
Very
highly
cool.
recommend.
Very neat.
Yeah. It's my aunt every year, and she's in Florida, so she gets this beautiful Maine balsam wreath.
Yeah, right.
And she knows that a wreath was sponsored in addition in my uncle's name,
Right.
placement at Jacksonville.
Absolutely. So we've got a couple more minutes left. So what else do we want to educate everybody about the organization?
I think the biggest thing to keep in mind, it's never too early or too late to get involved. I think a lot of people, once you get into November, they're like, oh, well, Wreath Day is coming up. I guess we'll have to do it next year. And that's not at all the case. We encourage you, wreath sponsorships are obviously critical to our program. Every wreath sponsored is $17. But if you sponsor through a group, you could be giving back and doing good twice and helping two organizations, depending on, who you're sponsoring through. So that's important. Obviously, sponsorship groups can sign up at any time. There's no cutoff for sponsorships to sign up. Locations, we try to have all locations wrapped up for the year by, early November, just from a logistics standpoint. But,
Right.
you can always sign up a new location at the beginning of next year. But I think, there's so many other ways to get involved online. I would definitely take a look and see, what's in your area. How can you help? Maybe you're part of a group, Kiwanis Club, or, maybe Civil Air Patrol or something in your community. Maybe you have a firehouse that, looking to raise dollars. Sign up as a sponsorship group and help your local cemetery raise sponsorships at the same time. And you can do that at any point. And maybe learn a bit about the veterans in your community, because that's a great way to really get to know. I've learned a lot about in the last several years. I live in southern Maine now.
Yep.
Learned a lot about the veterans in my community that are laid to rest in my community through working with other groups, in the community. I've learned a lot through the American Legion here locally in my community, and they're invested in the program. And so it's just, you might find there are other avenues for you to help other programs by participating in Wreaths Across America, and I think that's okay. to me, if you're finding another program in your community that supports veteran and military families as a result of your working with Wreaths Across America, then that's a success. You know, that means that you're helping somebody in your community, and we want that. So I can't stress enough, wreathsacrossamerica.org has a lot of great information from learning about, you know, what's in your area. We'll be putting out the information by the end of October about the escort to Arlington, and that will be on our website. It'll be in the newsroom too. We'll be posting that that route and when you can expect to see it come through Connecticut. So we'll be making that available. We have really great. We have a monthly newsletter, Mission Matters, that you can sign up for and stay informed of all the different things that are happening within the organization. We also have a Teaching Times, which is our education newsletter. If you're interested, if you're an educator who wants to learn about all the new curriculum available and webinars and partners, you can certainly sign up for that too. It's all free. That's all on our website. And obviously our social media channels are very active, and our Wreaths Across America Radio is just sharing the stories. It's a voice for America's veterans, sharing stories of service across the country. So there's definitely ways to stay tuned in, I guess, to what the program is doing and what the volunteers are doing across the country. Because I can't stress enough, Pete, like this organization, it's the volunteers. I mean, that's what makes this work. That's what makes this grow. That's what makes this mission a success every year. It's the volunteers. These people never ceases to amaze me how hard these people work. I mean, just like you're a volunteer. People work. They work all day, and then they go and volunteer at night or on weekends. It's pretty impressive, and I think it's something that not everyone can give money, but most people probably can give time, and you probably will learn a lot about yourself and about your community in the process. So we're very grateful for our volunteers, and just can't speak enough about the value they bring to this organization, for sure.
Absolutely. Amber, we're about to run out of time, but before we do, I want to thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you. On behalf of Amber Karen from Wreaths Across America, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next time. The preceding program was brought to you in part by